Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals. It's me, your host with the most, Dr.JWolfenstein. And as you can see, I have kind of more or less fixed my tracking, so we're good to go. We're going to play some WoW this morning, just because I'm trying to get inspired to write some stories for somebody. And for now, we are going to go play as Leo Harding, my Worgen. So, when it comes to Leo, I'm mostly just going through straight up classic. Well, not classic, because frankly, I doubt you can even go through that anymore. But I'm going through Cataclysm. And I'm going through a lot of the Alliance territory and a lot of the Alliance storylines that I never usually go through, mostly because I am a Horde player, have been forever. And so, ever since, what the hell? He kept up with me? Fair enough. Anyway, so back in Burning Crusade, I played, or up until Burning Crusade, I was strictly Alliance. Specifically Night Elf, because again, I've always preferred to play elves. D&D, I started with an elf, like pretty much everything in the world that let me play an elf, that's what I played. And so, that's what I played, that's what I enjoyed, so that's what I did. And so it was always Night Elf. And then once the Horde introduced the Blood Elves, so with so with the introduction of the Blood Elves is when I switched to the Horde, and I've been Horde player ever since. So that was kind of, where I got my start in the Horde. And I've been loyal Horde players since then. But Cataclysm came out, and they introduced the Worgen. And for the first time ever, I dabbled in the Worgen and the Alliance. And once, when Cataclysm, came out, I was kind of just running through it. And then it was Warlords of Draenor when I kind of stopped and kind of went back to the Horde, playing my Hunter for a little bit, and then I picked up um, I picked up a dwarf, Galen Skyfist. Um, Galen is a dwarf, and I was playing a dwarf shaman at the time. Mained him all the way up until Legion. Never got Galen to max level at any one time. I still have Galen, still have him, still play him, and so I still use him, but I never really finished up his, playing with him or finished up his story or anything like that. And then with the introduction of Demon Hunters, I immediately created Bitha Pale Down. And she became my main and still is. You've seen me play her a lot. And so yeah, I've been kind of playing Bitha ever since. I kind of missed out on Shadowlands mostly because I didn't like the lore that it was creating. I didn't like the story it established. Frankly, it's bad. It's just not good. And then I rejoined for I believe it's Dragonflight was the one immediately after that. So but yeah, so that's kind of the history of my my career as a player. Hmm. I remember when this was the thing.
None may challenge the Brotherhood. Lapdogs, all of you. Fools! Our the Brother's right to prevail.
Hmm. Hmm. But anyway, so I never played a lot of the Alliance starting zones. Never felt the need to, never felt the desire to, so all in all it was, something I just never got around to. And so now, well, right now with me having access to this character and me trying to get the heritage armor on all the races that I haven't unlocked it on before, I decided I was gonna, start playing. So heritage armor, the Gilnean heritage armor is actually kind of fun. Because basically you're just being a dandy, get a top hat, a suit, get all kinds of nice clothes. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to unlocking it. I've already unlocked the Bronzebeard Legacy, so I've already unlocked for dwarves because I unlocked it back before a lot of the level changes. So Galen was able to do the quests and get it unlocked way back when. Um, and then I just unlocked it recently for the Blood Elves. I need to go through the Storyland of Shadowlands in order to get a bunch of the mounts, which God save me. I'm turning on my bear form. Um, so need to do that. Um, now, ultimately, I kind of plan on kind of kind of writing, kind of unlocking it all one by one. Um, After I do Worgen, I plan to do probably the Nightborn because I have a Nightborn character who's closer to that level. So plan to do the Nightborn, and then from the Nightborn, I'll probably do Volpera because I think that'd be my next highest level character is a Volpera. And to be honest, I'll probably run through the Shadowland storyline on on a Volpera. Um, so Worgen, um, yeah. So Worgen's next, then Nightborn, then probably a Volpera, and then I'll probably do Void Elf Heritage Armor. Um, just because again, I like the elves that WoW came up with, and I even in collaboration with a friend of mine named Whitehill, I've even written the World of Warcraft races as species you can play in D&D, which are on my Patreon, by the way. So I highly recommend going and visiting my Patreon. Link is in all of my socials. It's linked on my YouTube. It's linked in my Twitch. It's linked in my TikTok. I mean, it's linked kind of everywhere. So if you have any interest in it, and the World of Warcraft stuff I gave out for free because again, um, it's technically copyrighted material, so you don't even have to pay me for it. You can go find it. Now, granted, I did create it and change enough and kind of work it over enough to create something new. But again, I'm giving it away for free because excuse me, because I don't want to be seen as like um taking on or like trying to infringe upon a copyright that exists. So I've made sure that I'm giving something like that away for free. It's also available on D&D Beyond. Something to think on. I love having flying at level 20. God, I remember when flying was first implemented back in BC. That was rough, man. You had to get to freaking max level to even attempt it.
What can I do for you?
Vision of the
Go with God, my friend.
past.
Light bless you.
Longenj. I hope I said that right. Thank you for volunteering and welcome to the list. Welcome, welcome. Hope you are liking what you see. Thank you very much for your positive message. Well, I certainly am happy to have you watching and supporting. Everything go now. Wah! You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. All right. um, but one thing I told you guys a while ago is that I have kind of a story for every single one of my WoW characters, like their own individual story, and this one is no different. Leo Harding is actually his real name, and unlike most of the Worgen, he actually doesn't view. Well, let me start at the beginning. So, Leo Harding was a woodsman. Specifically, he was a trapper and a hunter and I suppose you could call him a scout. He actually joined the Second War, and he was a hunter at the time. He worked as a scout, a ranger, and worked alongside the elves of Quel'Thalas, hunting through the forests, doing scout work, and reporting back to the Alliance about horde movements and dispositions. And when the trolls got involved, he kind of took that shit a little personal, especially when they burned the home of the elves. And, kind of, it was quite horrifying to him because he started to imagine, well, what if the horde made their way to Gilneas? What if the horde had decided that they were going to make their way there and visit this same hell upon his people? So when King Gen made the proposal of the Greymane Wall and kind of voted to isolate Gilneas from the rest of the world, he was actually one of the voices of support because, again, there was no reason to risk his home and his safety, and he figured that with the Greymane Wall up, then it would deter pretty much everybody. So one of the things he started to do was he started to, be more involved in protecting Gilneas.
What can I do for you?
He always made sure to go. He went out and did hunting trips in order to kind of make sure that no horde were getting in. He made sure that when it was, when something was called on for Greymane, that he went out and did it. The next thing is that the next thing that he did was when it was time, when the Worgen first started creeping in, he volunteered to be one of the hunters who would go out and hunt them. And again, he didn't know what he was hunting or why he was hunting them. What he knew and what he was told by kind of the upper crust and the elite was that he was hunting monsters to protect Gilneas. And so he did that, and he was happy to do it because, again, If he's protecting Gilneas, he's protecting his home, he's protecting his family, and he didn't want to have what happened to Silvermoon and Quel'Thalas happen to Gilneas. So he was only too happy to hunt the Worgen at first. It was when he started to realize exactly what was happening that things got a little dicey. And unfortunately, when he realized what was happening, the man who created the Worgen betrayed him and left him to turn and die.
Be careful for the Alliance.
And so he was lost. He was lost kind of essentially forever. And never was able to kind of, so what I'm looking for here. I mean, he was never really able to regain himself until about the time that the potion came about. And that potion came about, and they used it on him and he was able to regain himself. But he never really looked at his affliction like a curse. And in fact, as he regained himself, he realized he was closer to beasts than ever before. He could take on the shape of other beasts. And this was the first kind of inkling of his druidic powers. And so with the discovery that his, this druidic power was flowing in him, and with the undead attacking Gilneas, he fought tooth and claw, and didn't understand a lot of his origins. He still doesn't fully know why magic sings in his blood. He later learns after being trained by the night elves who came and helped Gilneas that magic kind of sings in his blood, and it's probably a generational thing. So, which again makes sense. Leo never knew his grandparents on either side, so he figures one of them was probably a woods witch. And the magic just sings to him. Now, most people, most Gilneans and most Worgen, now that they've been given control by the Night Elves, they stop and they kind of they drop their Worgen shape for a time. And a lot of the times they appear human and everything. Leo does not. Leo never takes his human shape. Because he, ever since becoming a druid proper and now trained, he despises his human shape. He would rather stay the Worgen forever. It puts him closer to nature. It lets him hunt better. There's just so many benefits that ultimately, when he's in his human shape, the few times he has been in his human shape, he's felt blinded, he's felt deafened, he's felt like his sense of smell was gone. He hated it. It was almost painful. And so he's never, he only takes it on every grand once in a while, and that is usually when he's under a direct order. And I'm talking King Varian orders it of him. King Greymane orders it of him. Prince Anduin has only asked it of him once, and he humored Prince Anduin. But aside from that, he's never taken on... Oh, no. He took on his human shape one time when Malfurion Stormrage asked it of him. This was after the burning of Teldrassil. After the burning of Teldrassil, Um, After the burning of Teldrassil, Leo showed up to help because obviously he would help those who helped him. And Malfurion wanted to thank him, and he asked to look upon the man who helped save Teldrassil and the citizens thereof. So it was that simple request from someone whose teachings saved, you know, Leo from losing himself forever that he decided to humor. And so he's taken on his human shape that many times, has never wanted to do it again, and frankly will even ask, is this really necessary? Do I really have to? You know, can I just stay in? Can I just be as I am? And most of the time he gets his answer. But Leo has but Leo going through his training quickly found that he preferred the shapes of the animals that he took on more than his own wolfen shape. And the only time he really takes on his wolfen shape is when he has to, and almost never takes on his human shape. So if he can talk to people while in the feline form, he will. And that's kind of where he prefers to be. He's even learned to skin animals with the claws that his wolfen or his Worgen shape provides. Kill 7 Murlocs. Keeper of the Flame, Coastal Menace. Okay. But Leo has always been a bulwark for his people, and so the path of the Guardian always appealed to him. So he joined the Druids of the Claw and is now a great guardian bear for the people of Gilneas. Let's see. But yeah, Leo is kind of, Leo's been a pretty staunch supporter of the Alliance ever since the Cataclysm happened. However, once Deathwing started to become a problem in the Cataclysm, and he was actually in a position to go and fight him, he discovered a guild known as the Knights, of Azeroth. The Knights of Azeroth is a guild full of Alliance members who have decided, for one reason or another, that the constant fighting that happens between the Horde and the Alliance does nothing for nobody. It only causes chaos, it only brings suffering, and frankly, it needs to stop, because Azeroth is everyone's home. And he was reached out to by a couple of members. One member of the Knights of Azeroth was the two members who were knights, and they reached out to him, was the Knight of the Eastern Kingdoms and a Knight of Azeroth. The Knight of Azeroth is a general ranking for members. The Knight of the Eastern Kingdoms is actually a what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking? What are the words I'm looking for here? Um, the knight of the Eastern Kingdoms is usually someone of the Eastern Kingdoms who fought in the um, second and first wars or third wars. Excuse me, not first. Um, and usually someone who, you know, contributed pretty heavily to those war efforts. Now, while Leo did support the alliance in the second war, Gilneas was absent in the third, and so he didn't get involved in that, and so he's not eligible for that title. The knight of the Eastern Kingdoms at that time um, would be Galen Skyfist. He is the knight of the Eastern Kingdoms, and um, he fought in the second and third wars, and even um, fought in a bunch of other skirmishes. And it was part of his group that brought Crassus and some others to free the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza from the Dragon Maw orcs. And so that was Galen's claim to fame. And so, with such a big accomplishment under his belt, obviously he was a shoo-in for the title of Knight of the Eastern Kingdoms. Now, the regular knight that approached him was actually someone who he knew. Her name was Vivi Gunfang, or at least that's what she calls herself now. He remembered Vivi when she was Vivi Ravenloft. Now, Vivi was a hunter back in Gilneas. She was too young in the Second War, but she did protect Gilneas when the wall was up, when they went into isolation, and when the Worgen first came out. She was one of the teams of hunters who would constantly go out and lead others to deal with those, creatures and problems. Um, and So when she approached him, asking him to join the Knights of Azeroth, Leo was willing to do so, and he has since been a staunch member. He was a member back. He was a member since since the burning of Teldrassil. He's been a member of the Knights of Azeroth for a while. He invaded Draenor, the old Draenor, as a Knight of Azeroth. He's done a lot in the name of being a Knight of Azeroth, and he's never regretted that choice, really. So, as such, he has just continued to serve with the Knights. Now, recently, he and the others went to the Dragon Isles and assisted Queen Alexstrasza and the rest of the Dragonflights, mostly at the behest of Galen, who is still the Knight of the Eastern Kingdoms. And at the behest of Galen, the entire guild was happy to mobilize and assist the Dragonflights, mostly because many of them, serve as helpers and assistants in other groups. See you later. Leo has joined the what is it? He has titles. Here he is. He is the Guardian of Cenarius. That's right. So, joined as one of the Guardians of Cenarius, and was willing to put his life on the line for that particular entity. And so helping the Dragonflight just seemed right. Because again, helping the Dragonflight helps all of Azeroth. So it all works out in the end. And Leo has not gone to the home of the Earthen yet, mostly because Galen was the first into that breach. He was in Dalaran when it was attacked, and no one really knows if Galen made it or not. Galen hasn't sent word back to the guild if he's made it, and so there is a concerted effort to launch an investigation into the home of the Earthen and the new continent, because they've been hearing about it kind of secondhand. But again, it's not something that has been confirmed yet. And the other Knights of the Continent, or Knights of the Lands, as they are called, are going to decide amongst themselves who to send. And if any of the regular Knights of Azeroth are going to go. Because again, Knight of Azeroth just is a title that is given to all members of the guild. The Knights of the Lands refer to Northrend, Kalimdor, the Eastern Kingdoms, and Kalimdor, Northrend, the Eastern Kingdoms, and Pandaria. The guild is currently debating if they should add Zandalar and Kultiras and the Broken Shores as Knight of the Islands, or Knight of the Rediscovered Lands. They're kind of arguing over the title. They all agree that somebody should have it, but no one is quite sure who should have it. So yeah, this is kind of you're kind of seeing Leo's rise through the ranks at this point, rise through the story. Unfortunately, in actual game, the guild Knights of Azeroth was a guild I had long ago. I had to leave. I left the original server I was on, and unfortunately, they no longer were letting guilds jump servers, just move the guild from one server to another. So it's rather unfortunate. The other big talking point about the guild, the Knights of Azeroth, is they actually found that they have a sister guild. And the sister guild is actually very interesting. So, the Knights of Azeroth were actually started by a few people who fought in the Third War against the demons, against Archimonde, and were at the siege of Mount Hyjal. At that time, the original members, only a few have remained. The guild leader is actually Artemis Moonkin, and she is a night elf hunter. The other is Gless Lighthammer. She was a paladin, and a survivor of Muradin's company from back in the day. And then there was Damon Reeves. Damon Reeves actually died at some point, and they thought him lost until he showed up a while later as a undead. And no one's quite sure how long he had been dead before that. Um, but again, um, that was kind of what happened to him. And so those three originally started it with Artemis Moonkin being the guild master. Kind of de facto, she got a battlefield promotion because the former guild master, who was a human, he ended up dying in the defense of Mount Highjaw. And need to find tarantulas and condors. And a lot of the other original 10 members were unable to secure victory, or rather, were unable to survive. Though they did try their best, and they killed many demons and, fought the good fight. Now, with that being said, and with all of them, clearly trying their best to, survive that particular war, it was a pretty intense set of struggles. And, it kind of shaped them into what they were. Now, for the longest time, the Knights of Azeroth kind of did their own thing, and again, went through the various phases of the aftermath of the war. And the Cataclysm actually brought them face to face with the existence of another guild. This guild was known as the Wolves of Azeroth. I hate these fucking things. The Wolves of Azeroth is much the same as the Knights. They are a guild that believes that protecting Azeroth is the most important thing, but they are made up of the Horde members. Now, they're not as long and storied as the Knights of Azeroth. They were not formed in the Third War. The Wolves of Azeroth actually weren't even formed until the opening of the portal back into Outland. And at that time, they were actually one of their founding members, and still their guild leader to this day, who is known as the Wolf of Azeroth. Or rather, the Alpha Wolf. He was a blood elf known as Apollo Sunken. Apollo was, again, he's a blood elf, he's a hunter, beastmaster, much like Artemis is a beastmaster for the night elves. And the two of them actually met when Tyrande and Maiev journeyed through the Eastern Kingdoms to hunt down Illidan. And it was during that time that he assisted and helped them out with Prince Kael'thas. And so when they met during the Cataclysm again, and discovered, what they were each kind of up to and what ideals they held, they kind of put their differences aside and agreed that the Wolves of Azeroth and the Knights of Azeroth will put their differences aside and never take up arms against each other in what becomes known as the Fourth War and other such conflicts. And they always agreed that they will ride to each other's aid in order to help both the Horde and the Alliance whenever possible. Both of these guilds went to Pandaria, both followed orders because, you know, you don't betray. Again, the Alliance was there looking for Prince Anduin, and Garrosh led the Horde there in order to conquer Pandaria. Now, the Wolves of Azeroth didn't care for that, but again, still went along because they knew that they had to kind of minimize the damage that the Horde was doing as best they can. Because again, many of the Wolves of Azeroth disagreed with the War Chief at the time, because no one really liked Garrosh because he murdered Cairn Bloodhoof. And while the Mak'gora was accepted, or at least the outcome was accepted, in terms of, you know, there would be no proper retribution for the underhanded death of Cairn, they wouldn't blindly follow Garrosh's orders. In fact, many of the orcs, the orcish members of the guild, actually believe that it was a mistake to put Garrosh in charge. Mostly because the orc members of the Wolves of Azeroth remember Grom and the chaos that the Warsong clan caused, both on Draenor and on Azeroth.
Greetings.
And also remember that it was Grom Hellscream who sold their souls to demons in the first place, and many of them have never forgiven him for it. And frankly, many of them believed that Thrall should have killed Grom Hellscream and been done with it, but, you know, they weren't in a position to make that argument then. So, that is what that is. Uh-huh. So the Knights of Azeroth and the Wolves of Azeroth have kind of worked together ever since. Even when the Banshee, you know, kind of was going on a witch hunt and, you know, rounding up who she thought were dissidents, even during the siege of the siege of Undercity. Again, no members of either the Wolves of Azeroth or the Knights of Azeroth have ever fought each other in direct conflict. Even on the battlefield, if they see somebody who is from that side, they tend to leave and ignore them and then go off and do their own thing.
Be careful.
They do not engage one another in combat. Never have, never will. And it has gotten their loyalty called into question once or twice. The Knights of Azeroth have had to answer to Tyrande, and Tyrande has banished the Night Elf members of the Knights of Azeroth and the rest of the guild from ever entering the Night Elf cities ever again. So, in the wake of the Shadowlands and that story, there is a question of if that'll change, but again, the Night Elves who called that place home are a little disheartened that this is the reaction, but they understand it. Again, they don't like it, but it is what it is, and they don't have the authority to stop Tyrande from making that decision. Though they do want to. Many members of the guild want to, like, you know, challenge Tyrande, but at the same time, they also understand that that is foolish and stupid and will likely get them killed. So they don't bother trying. But yeah, the King Varian back in the day did not understand it, but at the same time understood that the Knights of Azeroth were doing exactly what he wanted them to do and were basically the only ones really getting the fucking job done. And so, you know, while he didn't like them, you know, during the Cataclysm and during, you know, other events, as he started to listen to Prince Anduin, he started to realize that, you know, more and more he needs people who are willing to do to do the hard things and do what's right, even if he doesn't agree with the methods or the allies. Which again, very grown up of him. King Greymane has never liked the Knights of Azeroth, and in fact, he has, up until very recently, he forbade the Knights from ever entering Gilneas. He has constantly told them to leave his presence and threatened more than one of them with death if they didn't. Um, and especially during the Legion invasion, when King Greymane went and tried to mess with, well, didn't try, succeeded in messing with Sylvanas and her plans. Um, when told to engage um, the Wolves of Azeroth, who were helping Sylvanas at the time, the Knights refused, stating their alliance with them and kind of the deal that the Knights and the Wolves had. And, he called them traitors. He wanted them executed, but at the same time, he didn't have the pull back then. Still doesn't, because again, the Knights of Azeroth have proved themselves. They are a valuable fighting force and will continue to be so. And, much to his frickin' chagrin, Leo has thought to fight Greymane a few times. And if he thought he could get away with it and actually fight the man, not to the death, but definitely fight him so that way he can, teach Gen that, hatred is not going to be the answer. And that all that's needed is to fight for Azeroth. But kind of figured that wouldn't fly well. So, kind of rough for him.
Hey there. See you later.
Ugh, need a drink.
Need help? Light bless you. Go with honor, friend. Light bless you. What can I do for you? For the Alliance?
So yeah, that's kind of the long and short story. The Knights of Azeroth and the Wolves of Azeroth have been working together, kind of behind the scenes, letting the wars play out, never betraying their side, but also never attacking their ally and sisters on the other side. And during Legion, they worked neck and neck with each other through the various class halls, the Hunter's Hall, the Paladin's Order, that kind of thing. So, yeah, all in all, Leo is a guardian who believes in protecting his guild and protecting his friends. He always has been a staunch defender. So when presented with the powers of the druid, he again decided that he would be the bulwark. He would be the front line. He would be the guardian. And he is often known as the knight of. He is often known as the bear knight because, again, seeing him in this bear shape is actually more common than seeing him in any other shape. Though he takes on other shapes in order to get around quickly and in order to, move and get things done. But most of the time, if he doesn't have to be in his Worgen shape or any other shape, then he will just be in bear shape. Often going to sleep in bear shape too. Many times the guild members have worried about him losing himself to his animal aspects, and going mindless, like the Druids of the Claw once were when they were in their barrow dens. However, Dopamine Fair, the cool Tyrian Woods, frankly, she was an elder. She was an elder woods witch. Um, the she's another guardian druid who has deigned it upon herself to kind of pull him out of states a few times by fighting him bear. And also Whisperous Moonstream. She is a feral druid, and she has constantly kind of nudged him back into the regular, into his regular shape, and steered him away from losing his mind to his animal aspect. Of course, the other Worgen in the group, Vivi, or Vivi, she has also dragged him more than once, kicking and screaming, essentially, back into his regular shape by hunting him as if he were a bear, and using her various creatures to do it. And it has caused some kerfluffle amongst the various members of both the wolves and the knights, when the druids kind of risk themselves, and it's been a fun kind of ride for them. Canyon Romp. Knolls have wised up. Recover the Blackrock Orc Missive. Many of the one thing is that many of the knights and the wolves of Azeroth never went into the Shadowlands. And frankly, that was mostly because they thought it unwise to put all their eggs into that basket. They did think that somebody had to go in there and stop Sylvanas and stop death from claiming life and all that jazz music, but again, Azeroth never slept and never stopped sleeping. So while others were off securing the lands of the dead, and kind of doing that, many of the wolves and the knights of Azeroth actually stayed behind and protected Azeroth, because that's where they believed their loyalties really lied, is defending the home. So that way, when the people who decided to go into the abyss came back out, they would have somewhere to come back to. So, it's they didn't win a lot of favor for that. Many people called them cowards, many people called them foolish, but again, they thought it was the best plan of action. Now, that's not to say none of them went, and so there were people carrying the banner. Mostly it was the Volperas of the Wolves of Azeroth, and then it was actually it wasn't Galen who went in. It was the Knight of Kalimdor. And the Knight of Kalendor at this time is Kanar Allspell. He's a havoc demon hunter. Night elf, of course. Um, he he fought in the first invasion of the Legion back in the day. He was imprisoned with Illidan and his supporters 10,000 years ago. Followed Illidan into exile, followed him into Outland. Kanar was always down for, working with Illidan, and viewed the Night Elves' betrayal of Illidan as just that, a betrayal and frankly a crime. And so he made sure that he was always by Illidan's side. So, um, but yeah, in the Wolves of Azeroth, it was mostly I believe they are the Sandpelts. Yes, the Sandpelt Volpera family. So the Sandpelt family were a Volperan family who were convinced to join up with the Horde when the members Rico, Trixie, Runecon, and Rico joined up with the Wolves of Azeroth, and they are the ones who ventured into the Shadowlands. Whisperess, the moon, the feral druid, she also ventured into the lands of shadow, mostly because even though Tyrande, more despises the night elves in this guild. Whisperess and Kanar don't despise her. Artemis is actually annoyed with Tyrande because Artemis was a hunter and a sentinel way back in the day, during the first invasion of the Legion, 10,000 plus years ago. And so, for Tyrande to banish her from her home, this has actually caused Artemis to kind of become cold, and she's never really ventured back into Night Elf territory. And frankly, she never agreed with Tyrande going the route of the Wrath of Elune. But again, was not heard and not in good speaking terms with Tyrande when she made that choice. And so Whisperess though was the only one of the Night Elves who ventured into the lands of the dead, mostly because she heard the call of Ysera and the other wild gods who were in that dreaming form, and she viewed them as, she heard the call for help to bring them around. Unfortunately, was not able to fulfill a lot of her goal, but again, did it to the best of her ability. So, oh, thank you, Amelia Daisu. I appreciate that. Let's see, need to heal up. Need to hydrate. Stay hydrated out there, kiddos. Well, yeah, kind of the broad strokes of the history of Leo and some of the broader strokes of the guild I originally created for him. Again, I moved servers and they didn't let me move my guild over because they stopped offering that service by the time I needed to move. move the guild over. So a crying shame. One day I'll have enough people to get it back up and running. Even if it's only just so I can, put all my Alliance characters in it and call it a frickin' day. I have a net, and he's really, really big, and he's gonna smash you all in the face. And I'm gonna watch and laugh at you because your dirty, dirty nose in my way. Rawr, 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 rawr. Rawr, 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 rawr. Rawr, rawr, rawr. 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 Roar, 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 roar. Eden! Rawr. Rock not so heavy, puny humies. Where Tro? Tro on bridge? Anywhere but the bridge, no! Okay, me Tro in water.
Need help? Be careful.
By the way, find your supplies.
Light bless you.
Splash! You could have made a fishing orphan. Bye-bye, Daddy. Bye. They grow up so fast. One day they're, ugly little creatures that come out of your beautiful wife, and then the next day they're giants who can throw boulders and save people trapped underneath them. They grow up so fast.
Safe travels.
Da ba ba da ba da ba ba da da.
Greetings.
Saving Foreman, what's his fuck?
For the Alliance.
I get the leverage bracers, because the thing you need to know, people, is it's all about the leverage. Excuse me. Yowler must die! Whee! Where you gonna go? Up, up, up we go. Where she stops, don't nobody know. Whee! And drop. Ah! Nyum. I love doing that. I loved doing that as a druid in Burning Crusade when they introduced like flight as a druid thing. Oh man, I did that in the test server all the time. I'd literally just go as high as I could and then just drop off into the abyss and then catch myself at the last minute.
Light be with you. Go with honor, friend.
Come on, baby.
Honor, friend.
Do the
Life
locomotion.
bless you.
Na 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 na. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba da ba da. Do da 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 da.
Looking for
Come
something
on, baby.
specific?
Come on, baby.
Be careful.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby, baby.
Safe
Come
travels.
on, baby, baby. John J. Kishan. Hey, ugly. Make me come all the way out here, you bitch. Banana. Believe it or not, I'm walking on it. I never thought I could be so free, free, free. You know, I've been listening more or less to an anime all this time on the background, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't know that I really care about it all that much. So I'm just gonna, I just put it in the old watched bin, and I'm gonna forget about it. Forget about it, man. Forget about it. So I'm just gonna, put it away, forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Gotta forget. Gotta forget. Forget about it.
Well met. For the Alliance. Go with honor, friend. Be careful. Go with honor, friend.
I am outside. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh.
Greetings. Be careful.
Good day to you. Safe travels.
All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Ah! 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 God damn it! Motherfuck. Ah, well. Down, 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 bum, 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 bum. Ba, 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 da, ba, da, ba, ba, ba. Da, ba, da, ba, da, 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 ba, da, ba. Ba, da, na, da, na, 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 na. Oh, hey, you fuck off. Go away from me. Get away. Arr. All right, gotta kill all the orcs. Lots to kill the orcs. God damn it. Have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what they say when I got my last beer. Oh my god, it's 2 o'clock. Can't find the keys and the truck's locked. Hmm. All right. Thank you guys, and for all the likes. Thank you guys for all the support. Really, it means the world to me. I'm very grateful for it. All right, we're getting places, man. All right. Excuse me. All right, we're getting somewhere. We're getting this done, man. The Red Ridge Mountains are going to be a lot safer once Leo gets done here. There we go. So I'm going to ask you, chat and my audience, do any of you remember a show called Super Jail? Like it popped up on my feed recently as like in TikTok somewhere, and it popped up, and I was like, oh my god, I thought this show was a fucking pipe dream. I thought I dreamt this shit up while like smoking something or while going through the most depressing phases of my life. I honestly thought I like straight up like you know didn't even understand that this was a show, but please, somebody, anybody, comment if you remember that that god bonkers show. Like I even remember the song. All life on the outside ain't what it used to be, and all the world's gone crazy and it ain't safe on the street. Oh, it's dragging, I know. There's only one place to go. I'm coming home. Oh yeah, I'm coming home. Like I remember that shit. That shit was fucking fire. Fly like a raven over trees. Fly like a raven, let the druids carry me. I wanna fly.
Well met. Light bless you.
You need something? See you around.
Need help? For the Alliance. Be careful. Go with honor, friend. Light bless you.
Itchy nose.
Well met. Have a good one.
All right, getting it through, getting it done.
Hey there. Safe travels.
See, what spell is this guy using? Like, it's like fire. It's fire behind him. Like, what fucking spell is this?
What can I do for you? Have a good one.
Light be with you. For the Alliance.
All right. I mean, we're getting somewhere. All right, let's keep it going.
What can I do for you? Go with honor, friend.
Ooh. Hmm. Alrighty. Jeez Louise. Constantly forgetting to breathe. Just like really trying to get through this place.
I'm out of range. King's honor, friend. Light bless you.
Alright. Getting somewhere. Getting somewhere. We're getting things done.
I need to get closer. It's too far away.
Gosh dang it. Ah. Ah. Alright, hold on. I am definitely gonna have to... Yeah. Damn it. Alright, well, that's fine. I need to repair my skibidid it. Bowyer, there you are.
Need help?
Alright, we'll sell all the junk. We'll then sell off this stuff. And then, yeah, I think that'll about do it for today. Or at least for this time. Later today, I am planning to stream some Pokemon Sword. May or may not have a guest joining me for that fun part. But anyway, in the meantime, guys and gals and non-binary pals, I wish you all the best. And until the next stream, please stay healthy, my friends.